I made a video about how nobody is talking about Lando Norris anymore after he won the title. There's even less chatter about the guy who led most of the 2025 Formula 1 Championship. Oscar Piastri was amazing all season until he wasn't. And I've pinpointed the exact moment it all went downhill. Driving for a team that constantly talks about how fair they treat their drivers, some things that went on weren't all that fair. And it definitely wasn't letting them race. Let's have a look at what I think was the most pivotal moment and how he can prevent this from happening in 2026. I don't need to go over Oscar's first years at McLaren and how he improved from a rookie to a race winner. I've covered that enough in previous videos. Check out the McLaren playlist if you want to see those videos. I'm going to start with the 2025 season, which he started on the back foot by spinning off in the wet in his home race in Melbourne at the season opener. This would normally knock most drivers' confidence back a lot, but not the stoic Aussie who then went on to win in China, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia and Miami. The races he didn't win, he was on the podium, so things were looking cushy for him. He won in Spain, and in Canada, Lando Norris drove into the back of him, so he gained some points on his rival, even if he only finished P4. In Austria he finished second, but after he was told to take it easy with trying to overtake Norris. Now, I have to admit that the locking up in that attempt didn't look good, but there was no contact, so I thought it was not very nice of his engineer to call him out over the radio, knowing that the whole world could hear it. I think that would have been better left in the debrief after the race. In England at the British GP at Silverstone, Piastri copped a penalty for braking too hard behind the safety car. Now, the penalty itself had merit, as in those conditions, the concertina effect almost caused crashes further back. But he did it at an earlier restart as well. He didn't get warned or anything. No black and white flag for erratic driving. I think it's unfair to let it go the first time and then penalize without warning on the second time. Anyway, Oscar still finished second and Lando won his home race. This event didn't rattle him that much, especially as he was still leading the championship. He won in Belgium, then got second place in Hungary after Lando accidentally received a better strategy. And then he won in Zandvoort. I was there while Norris DNF'd thanks to an oil leak. Oscar Piastri was 34 points ahead of his teammate by then, and 104 points ahead of Verstappen. This was looking very good. Unfortunately for him, everything changed quickly after that. Oscar Piastri's fans had been pointing it out for a while now, and at the Monza Grand Prix, they were proven right. There was a feeling inside of McLaren that they'd rather see Norris win the title, as he had been there much longer. Lando arrived at McLaren as a fresh 19-year-old, and he was an adorable little fella. He grew into the great driver he is today in that team and stayed loyal to them. They learned to deal with his shortcomings and they coached him very well. Even if they say quite the opposite, the general feeling was that Norris was their favourite child. When Norris let Piastri pit first, under the caveat that he wasn't undercut, he suffered a slow pit stop and was undercut. The team that prides itself on letting its drivers race didn't let them race and swapped them. Piastri accepted it with the comment that the deal was not to do this for slow pit stops, but he did it anyway, most likely because he was still comfortably leading the championship. If it had been closer, he wouldn't have done it, perhaps. This whole ordeal may have disturbed Oscar quite a bit, as he finally realized that his own team were still backing his teammate and rival, even if he was still the best contender for the title. The doubt must have crept in because he wasn't the same anymore after that. In the next races, a chain of events took place that saw him tumble to P3 in the standings. Oof. People, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like so YouTube knows what you prefer. If you don't want to miss my content, subscribe to my channel. If you're already subscribed and you want early access or extra personal content, consider becoming a member. Bedankt! The next race was in Azerbaijan. Lando Norris had fixed a few issues concerning the feel of the car, and Max Verstappen had fixed a bunch of issues with his team after Christian Horner was sacked. So Piastri had two rivals all of a sudden. That realization and the low grip the street track in Baku offers made Oscar's weekend a bit of a hell. He had already qualified too far back, then jumped the start, stalled, and then crashed. 0 points for the usually cool-headed driver. Such a shame too. I like Oscar. At the time, I hoped he would find his form again in Singapore. Another street track, another chance to get on top of things. Well, as it turned out, Lando Norris got on top of things. He got on top of Piastri, to be specific. Oscar qualified in P3 with Norris in P5. That was already a bit of a win. Then right after the start, things got messy, and Norris almost drove into the back of Verstappen, so he steered into Piastri, who lost a bunch of places. This, to me, was the pivotal moment that Piastri lost all hope of winning the title. He pleaded with the pit wall to do something about this situation. The team that had warned him on several occasions not to crash into his teammate allowed it for Norris, because the FIA considered it a racing incident on lap 1. I can imagine the energy just must have drained from Oscar's body after that event. I don't know what stronghold McLaren has over him, or maybe he and his manager Mark Webber did some yelling behind closed doors, but it seems like he accepted his fate. With his confidence shot to pieces, he then crashed him and Norris out in the sprint in Austin. And in Mexico and Brazil, he only finished 5th. In Las Vegas, both McLaren cars were disqualified, and in Qatar, McLaren didn't dare to pit both drivers because it would hamper one of them. The second place in Abu Dhabi wasn't enough to win him the title, and that's how his season fizzled out. But there's always this season. It's been very quiet around McLaren. They have an awesome black livery for the testing in Barcelona, but other than that, the only talk is about Mercedes' power unit versus Red Bull's power unit, and the Williams troubles, and the much awaited arrival of Aston Martin in Barcelona. I'm sure McLaren will have a great package by the time they are in Melbourne. And here's what I think Oscar Piastri should do to get on top of his teammate. Leading the championship and winning 7 races hasn't been enough to convert the team he's in to his side. So to beat Norris, he must get into his head, which shouldn't be too hard at all. He shouldn't give an inch to Norris, and I think he should be extra aggressive towards him to assert dominance, and because it's something I want to see. From what we've seen in the 3 seasons that Piastri graced us with his presence in the sport is that he learns from his mistakes. I'm pretty sure he can get the grips with low grip, pun intended. And I think with his calm head, he can ignore a team order and argue his case later. With the points in the bag, this is what I'm hoping for Oscar. What do you guys think? Does he stand a chance? Take care now. Doei doei.